Chris, first of all, how do I know if I should be buying an aircraft as opposed to another method of flying?
Buying an aircraft should be based upon your desire to have your own aircraft, but also there's a point where you charter enough or you have enough fractional hours a year that it makes more financial sense to own your own aircraft. And usually that break even is around 200 to 250 hours a year.
So let's say I have some experience flying privately. I've decided that I want to buy my own. What do I do?
You want to employ a broker to work on your behalf. And a broker's not just a broker for the transaction, it's a consultant to help you determine the aircraft that fits your needs, where you want to go, how many people you want to carry, and really it hones in on what best serves you.
So what are some of the advantages to purchasing a pre-owned aircraft as opposed to going direct to the manufacturer?
When you purchase a pre-owned aircraft, the purchase can be much quicker. Lead times from the manufacturers have pushed out to years, 2 to 3 years. So if you're buying a brand new aircraft, you're really looking at taking delivery of that in up to 36 months. So buying pre-owned aircraft can fill a need that you have immediately. There's also a price point consideration. Pre-owned aircraft are typically lower priced than a brand new one, unless it's a brand new aircraft that's just delivered that an owner's looking to sell. And those can sometimes bring a premium based upon how far it is out for the brand new aircraft ordered from the manufacturer.
Okay, there just seems to be a lot of brokers. How do you choose one?
You should look at the company they represent and the knowledge that broker comes with. Jetcraft is over 100 people around the world with 30 offices. So when you hire a broker from Jetcraft, you're not just hiring that one broker, you're hiring the entire company. So one thing that's really important is how that person can encompass the world for you. As a broker like Jetcraft, we can look at an airplane for you in Hong Kong tomorrow on your behalf if you're based in New York, just because of our global presence. So we're a global industry, so having a global broker is very important in my opinion.
And then what is the role of the broker? Like, well, especially for a first-time buyer, what will you do to help?
The broker will help negotiate the deal, but before you even get that point, the broker is going to help you understand what you need in an airplane. You know you want an airplane, but what do you actually need to meet your desires? And then configurations. Some people want extra beds in it, 2 divans. Some people just want single seats. So there's hundreds of questions to be asked here. So I want to know where they're going to base the aircraft, where they want to fly to, because you have to look at the performance of the airplane. Do they want to fly to the places nonstop? If they're financing the aircraft, there's usually some limitations on how old you can go with the aircraft. Banks typically want to see some airplanes that are newer. And we also want to look at how many people they want to travel with. And then once the airplane's been determined, then you go into the studying the market for that aircraft, finding the right aircraft, the broker making the offers on your behalf, getting the deal accepted, and then you have the full inspection process of an aircraft, much like you would have a house when you're buying. And that's been a hard problem over the past few years just because of how busy the maintenance places have been. Last year and during COVID, we saw people waiving inspections on aircraft like they were doing with houses. And we do not suggest doing that. Well, you definitely want to properly inspect an aircraft. And that process can take 30 to 60 days, depending on what you're doing. That is very technical and that is very important. There's lots of aspects of the aircraft you need to check out. During that inspection process, that's also a time where you can start considering upgrades to the aircraft you want to go to. Do we want to install a new Wi-Fi system? Can we update the cosmetics to the aircraft? Do new avionics need to be installed? The airplane's down already, and once you put it into service, you don't want to put it back down. So thinking about how you want to update the aircraft is very important during this time.
Do you see any mistakes that like a first-time buyer will buy, like too much airplane or?
Often, unless clients have been properly advised, I see a lot of first-time buyers either buy an airplane that's too big or too small for themselves. And a year later, they're having to sell and they're going through the learning process of actually buying the right aircraft for them. So proper representation with a broker from the beginning and educating the client on what they actually need is very important.
Chris, sometimes a first-time buyer, maybe they're not clear on all of the things that are involved once you have an aircraft, maybe after the fact. Can you give us some insight into that?
So once you actually acquire the aircraft, there's a whole litany of things that come with that need to be forethought, planned in advance. And that's how are you going to operate? Are you going to operate it yourself with your own crew? Or are we going to involve a management company here? They're going to run the aircraft for us. And these are all things that you want to think about in the process of what kind of aircraft am I going to be buying. And there's not a right answer for everybody. You can customize it on how you want to do it. Because once you've acquired the aircraft, the actual operation of the aircraft is even more so in detail.